to more story time of Story of Legends, League of Stories, whatever. Lore, part 39, Fizz and Nautilus. Let's hit it. Da-na-na-na.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tyran back as promised with more lore of League of Legends.
Welcome back,
This time
Tyran, and welcome back to me.
champions have requested from us. We've chosen to cover a pair of champions who are bound by their connection to the depths of the sea.
Okay.
Fizz, the titled trickster, and Nautilus, Titan of the Depths.
Sure.
Enjoy. Centuries ago, when humans were still wild tribes battling one another for dominance, an ancient aquatic race had built a city hidden beneath a mountain in the sea. It was an impenetrable stronghold able to hold back any of the race's enemies. Its structure allowed the race to develop in peace, unbothered by the events of the outside world. They'd spent their days inside the city, too afraid to go outside. They had everything they needed, so why risk anything? But there was one person who thought different. Fizz, a young specimen who could not agree with the views of his relatives. Of course, it was safe and easy life, but it was also...
What a rebel! What a rebel! Look at him! Adventurer!
boring.
Adventure awaits! Huzzah! That's Fizz right there.
Why spend your days doing nothing if there is so much out there to explore and so much wildlife to see? Fizz could never stop his curiosity. He quickly developed
Why
a
struggle
habit of
when you can
sneaking
just
out
enjoy
of
your
the
time?
safety that the city provided to look for adventures.
Bro, can you imagine living in a place where, like, you don't have to work, food is plentiful all the time, you barely have to go and gather, just grows right in your backyard, and you're just chilling all day, enjoying the sun, hanging out with friends, right? It's like, man, sounds like a dream place, right? Just like food grows by itself. You don't have to plant anything. All good, man. Just like smoke some weed and relax. Not that I advocate smoking weed or anything. Man, that would be the life. But nothing will ever get done, and I think you would be pretty bored doing the same shit over and over. But, you know, pluses and minuses everywhere.
The life that he'd led was far from easy, but somehow Fizz felt that he was happier than others. He knew the thrill of the adventure,
Well, it's subjective.
excitement of discovery.
Mm-hmm.
There was more than the cushioned life that he would otherwise have. He'd learned to use his instincts that others had seemed to forget about. He'd faced dangers on many occasions, and he would often risk his life, but quick reflexes and cleverness always allowed him to escape unharmed. Years of wandering outside the city had turned Fizz into a skilled warrior that could outsmart most of those that he met under the sea. He always fought with grace and agility that couldn't be matched by anyone. And as time passed, Fizz had been moving further from his homeland, sometimes disappearing for a few days, sometimes even for weeks. He would be gone without any word and return like nothing happened. When Fizz was out on one of his...
Wonder how much of it is in the lore and how much of this is reading between the lines of what is in the lore.
expeditions, however, something had happened. To this day, Fizz did not exactly know what, but when he returned to his home, it was empty.
Oh.
The city had been completely abandoned with no clue about the reasons of such events. There were no signs of fights, no damage, like everyone had just vanished. Fizz spent long hours looking for anyone else, but it was pointless. He has, however, managed to salvage an enchanted sea stone trident from the ruins, one of his race's relics. Feeling that it would be a valuable asset on his adventures, he collected it and left the city for good.
It's like one of those stories where, like, you know, there's like this place, I believe it's in Canada, and it's basically a case of the vanishing cities. I don't know if it's real or not, but basically it's like there was this one guy who would go to this village like once a year or something like that, and like he went there one time, and there's like no people, none of their animals are there, but it's as if they just vanished. And the thing is that there was like still food on the tables and stuff like that, as if they just like vanished into thin air, or just like they were told to stop what they're doing and they were told to just leave. And it wasn't like people left in a panic, like shit was missing or anything like that. It's just that it's literally as if it's like, imagine me right now, I'm doing this, and then just like stop everything and just walk away. Don't take anything, don't do anything, just like as everything is, just leave it and leave. Dude, that is such a scary fucking thought where it's like, bro, aliens? Or and logical explanation. But like what can be a logical explanation? They had to leave? If it's like, even if like let's say a disaster happens and you have to leave, you would see like people making a bit of a mess while they leave, right? Because like they're trying to take stuff for survival and all that shit. But nope.
There was nothing else left for him. He set out into the depths of the sea to the parts that he'd never visited before, hoping to find any signs of his people. He wandered the ocean for years, yet his search had proven to be futile. No matter where he looked, there was no one, only more danger that he had to face. Thanks to his skills in the sea stone trident,
Fucking
he
aliens.
managed to survive with no harm to himself. He was getting more and more frustrated with his search. No matter how much effort he put into it, there were no results.
Okay.
Everything has changed when Fizz had found a port, a human port, a sight that he'd never seen before.
Bilgewater?
His homeland was miles away from the closest land, and it was not inhabited anyway. Life at the port had fascinated Fizz. He's never seen life on the surface, and it was a pleasant surprise.
It's like, the search for my family can wait. This is interesting.
Everything was so colourful, vibrant, lively. Fizz wanted to experience it. He wanted to be closer to everything that had been happening. And so, the young adventurer had entered the glorious city of Bilgewater,
Yep.
home to all sorts of thugs, pirates, and scum. The life that many consider filthy and hard was fascinating to Fizz. He found it beautiful, and his curiosity made him interfere with every situation that he'd seen on land. At first he was just chased away from the city, allowing him to return soon after. But the pirates of the Bilgewater never like it if someone is messing with them too often. They began to behave aggressive towards Fizz, not wanting him anywhere close to their port. Many rewards had been set for the head of Fizz. Given no other choice, Fizz wanted to run away back to the sea. Standing at the edge of the wooden deck, he started jumping into it, preparing himself to return. He did not expect a gigantic dragon shark to jump out of the bay and start destroying the city, as well as the ships surrounding it. Everyone in the city started panicking, trying to run away. Not Fizz though. He'd faced those sharks too many times to be scared. He took a hold of his sea stone trident and jumped right onto the shark, deeply focused on its weak points. Time after time, Fizz had struck the beast in the depths. His attacks were felt, but the shark was unable to react in any way. Fizz was too small a target. The helpless beast had been cornered and slain, as Fizz stood triumphant over its body. In return, the pirates of Bilgewater had cancelled the rewards on Fizz. He'd earned their respect and gratitude. He was officially allowed to become a citizen of Bilgewater and stay there for how long he wanted. Fizz's fascination with the pirate port had never faded, and as the months passed, the creature had been living in Bilgewater, and when the League of Legends asked Bilgewater for another representative, Fizz seemed like a natural choice. He's accepted the offer and now protects his new home, not only from the creatures of the sea, but other humans as well. Nautilus was always a man of the sea. He had been wide known as an experienced sailor who has achieved things that most were afraid to. He sailed through waters unexplored by anyone else just to cover up an empty space on the map.
Okay.
One day he was contacted
Nautilus the Explorer?
by the summoners of the League of Legends. They needed a crew to travel deep into unknown reaches of the Guardian Sea. They wanted only the best to join the crew, and Nautilus accepted their offer. He's never met this crew before, but he had to trust them. There was no other way they could work together. They seemed to share his mindset, and their cooperation was going rather well.
Until?
After days of sailing, they left known safe waters and sailed onwards, ready to investigate anything new or uncommon like they were ordered to.
Okay.
Another few days have passed and nothing seemed to change. Nobody on the ship has even paid attention to the waters beneath getting progressively darker. When another sunrise had welcomed the sailors, the water under the ship was replaced by black, oozing liquid. Nobody could tell what that meant. Nobody ever wanted to pay attention to the sea, hoping that it would go back to normal as soon as they move on. Nautilus, however, remembered what their task was. He'd found a hulking diver's suit that they'd been given and prepared himself to gather some samples for the summoners.
Bro, Nautilus literally balls of steel, man. I mean, probably very literally he has balls of steel.
He slowly climbed over the ship's rail with the help of his colleagues, but as soon as he leaned forward to lower himself, something pulled him into the water. In the last moment, he grasped the railing, desperately holding onto it, as the dark creature tried to pull him down. He cried out for help, but he got no response. With all his might, Nautilus clung to the side of their ship. The entire ship started rocking on the unfriendly waters due to the force of the unseen beast trying to take Nautilus with him, and the sailor had not received any help. For a few minutes he'd been struggling on his own, and then his fellow sailors had finally taken action. Not those that Nautilus had hoped for, however. They had forcefully opened his hands and pushed him off right into the dark depths. In the last act of desperation, Nautilus grabbed the ship's anchor.
I kind of felt that would be the case, because when he said like he trusted them because that was the only way, I'm like, probably a backstab incoming, you know?
But it didn't help. Clutching it tightly, he'd been surrounded by the dark waters. For months the body of the sailor had been resting on the bottom of the sea, unconscious, surrounded by the black tar-like waters. He should have died, turned into a rotting corpse, but no. Something else happened. One day Nautilus awoke, and it was different. He wasn't human anymore. He could not feel his body, just the iron suit. It was now part of him, just like the anchor that he'd still clutching in his hands. In the darkness of depths, everything was different. He barely remembered anything that happened before his accident.
Okay.
He did remember what happened, however. He could describe the face of every single man who had condemned him to his fate. Having no other purpose in life, Nautilus decided to seek revenge. Too heavy to swim, he slowly rose and started his long walk under the waves, hoping to find those men.
This is like the story of Jason, basically. That's fucking...
He wandered across the ocean's bottom with no clear goal. It almost seemed like an eternal dream. He was walking, surrounded by all kinds of creatures, but none of them were brave enough to attack the mysterious Titan. He was human no more. He was a beast of the depths, and only bits of memories have still connected him to his past. When he finally found the shores of Valoran, he started looking for answers. But everyone who had heard the tales of Nautilus would just send him back to the League of Legends. But even when he reached the Institute of War, the summoners refused to give him answers. Not a single name, not a single clue where to look for them.
Why not just kill them then? I mean, what is he asking nicely? Bro, like, people fucking killed you, you're looking for revenge. Like, you fucking start, you know, you stop pulling your punches, you're just going full out. You throw that fucking anchor at people, it's just like, you better fucking tell me what's up.
It didn't matter. Nautilus decided to stay in the Institute of War and serve as one of the League's champions for the time
Why?
being.
Why?
Eventually, he would find some clues, and it would just take time. And time, he had more than enough of.
Bro, like, someone in search of revenge is not a very patient person. Besides, how does he know he has enough time? Like, because he can't drown doesn't mean he's fucking gonna live forever. Also, the people who killed him are not gonna live forever. He doesn't have that much time. Like, if he looks for revenge, I mean... Oh, kind of weird, but it is what it is. Here's the like button. Boom. Alright, we'll go on to the next one.